grapevines. Ryan Jacobson's German ancestors planted them here more than 100 years ago, when they settled as farmers in central California. Since then, the family has survived several droughts.
The drought here in the San Joaquin Valley is absolutely the worst we've ever seen. And what we're looking at as far as this year, we're looking at hundreds of thousands of acres being fallowed, tens of thousands of jobs being lost, and billions of dollars of economic activity not coming to this community.
High temperatures in winter, earth dry as dust, fields that wither because the usual winter rains failed to materialize. Here, where most of the fruit and vegetables in the US are grown, the harvest is likely to be meagre this year. Food prices will rise, but that won't compensate for the farmers' losses. Ryan Jacobson and thousands of other farmers fear for their livelihoods.
We're in year 3 of a drought that we don't know how long it's going to last. There are farmers that probably will go under this year, that will no longer be in business. And based off of how long this lasts, there are farmers that cannot go through this for very many years in a row before they're going to have to go under.
The large neighbouring farm, which belongs to the Stamules Produce Company, isn't ready to go under yet. It employs 300 staffers and several thousand seasonal workers. But the extreme drought has left its mark here, 2 hours' drive from San Francisco.
As you can see over here, there's a big piece of land, about 650 acres. It's fallow, it's empty, because there's simply not enough water to farm.
The farm's 43-year-old manager is under no illusions. The drought will cost the company a lot of money.
What does that mean for you?
A quarter of the land can't be farmed.
It means that the company's probably going to have to suffer loss of money, loss of revenue, loss of profit, and we're just barely surviving as it is. We're hoping that the water that we can pump from the wells will be enough to farm something in this area.
But well water alone isn't enough to irrigate the fields, especially as the low water table is sinking even further. This water comes from reservoirs. It's transported many miles to the fields via canals. It's a time-consuming and expensive process. Irrigating this comparatively small field for a few hours costs $100. The process has to be repeated several times a week for the crops to grow. But now the reservoirs are emptying. The San Luis Reservoir is one of the most important in the region, and it's only 40% full. Scientists in California expect the situation to worsen in the future.
There's very high consensus around increasing droughts in the future related to global climate change, because not only are we having earlier snowmelt and less snowpack, which is one of our largest water reservoirs in the western US, but we're also having hotter temperatures, which means that outdoor plants require more water to survive.
That will force people to manage their resources differently.
In the past, we have had droughts, but they've typically been 2 to 3 years, which means that we can wait for a wet year. That might not be what happens in the future. If we look at the science, it tells us that we're likely to see longer and more severe droughts. And as that begins to happen, people are really going to have to think about water differently.
Water efficiency is the only way that Ryan Jacobson will be able to secure his livelihood in the long term.
Once the water enters the system, it's delivered directly right to the root zone, doesn't have any kind of waste or evaporative losses of any kind. So as you can see here, as we pull this up a little bit, it's anywhere between 6 and 8 inches deep here, but it goes right below the plant. And right here, we happen to see, as we go dig into here, we got the crop, and you could tell that it was right next to where this plant was.
One day his son Maverick will take over the farm. He's already making friends with the right animals. Goats are known to be very low maintenance and can manage fine in dry climates.
That baby?
Yeah,